Dear students, today we shall learn about first rib. It is one of the atypical ribs, and you know there are 5 atypical ribs: first, second, 10, 11 and 12. So these 5 ribs are atypical ribs. You have already learned about the typical ribs, so you are well acquainted with the terms, that is head. Here you see, here I am showing a diagram of the first rib. This is called head of the rib, this is called neck, this is called tubercle, this is called shaft. Now here you see, this is the superior aspect of the first rib. On the superior aspect there are 2 grooves. These 2 grooves, one is meant for the subclavian vein and one is meant for the subclavian artery. In between 2 grooves there is a ridge, that is called, this ridge ends in a tubercle on the inner aspect of this border, that is called scalene tubercle. So this scalene tubercle separates these 2 grooves, and this scalene tubercle gives attachment to the scalenus anterior muscle. This is the scalenus anterior muscles. Now you are seeing the superior aspect of the first rib. Now the area between the groove for the subclavian artery and the tubercle, this area, this quadrangular area, this area is meant for the insertion of the scalenus medius muscle. Now near about the middle of the rib, on the outer border, there is a rough area which gives attachment to the first digitation of the serratus anterior. So this is called serratus anterior. Another rough area lies anteriorly between the groove of subclavian vein and the anterior end of this first rib, this area. Here you see, at the anterior aspect there is a attachment of muscle that is called subclavius, and behind this is due to the attachment of the costoclavicular ligament. Both these structures actually encroaches on the costal cartilages. They are encroaches on the costal cartilages. Now let us see the actual bone. Here you see, this is the actual bone. Now first of all we should know how to hold it in anatomical position. Here you see, this is the posterior end, this is the anterior end. Posterior end consists of the head, neck and tubercle, and this rib actually you have to hold it in slanting position. Anterior end lies about 3 to 4 centimeter below the level of the head. Actually it forms 45-degree angle at the root of the neck. Here you see, it is the sloping position of this first rib. It forms a angle of the 45 degree at the root of the neck. If you draw a line transversely here, so from this transverse horizontal line it makes 45-degree angle. Because of this it is slanting in position. So head should be posteriorly and more towards the midline, and you should know the superior surface, it is rough. Because of this groove it should lie superiorly. So this should be the anatomical position. So this bone actually belongs to the right side. Now let us consider the attachments of this rib. Here you see, what are the characteristic features that distinguishes this rib from other ribs. Because we know atypical ribs we can distinguish them separately because of their some special features. Now let us see what are the special features of this rib. Here you see this is the head of the rib. Head of the rib, here it contains only one facet, single facet. Small head contains small facet, one facet only, and rest of the typical other typical ribs consist of two facets. Here only one facet. Neck, in case of first rib, it is rounded, and it is the most curved. Other ribs is not so much curved, it is most curved, and it is broadest. It is most curved, it is broadest, and head contains single facet, and this is the tubercle. This tubercle consists of two parts, articular part medially, this is the articular part. It articulates with the similar facet on the transverse process of the first thoracic vertebra. This is the non-articular part. It gives attachment to the lateral costotransverse ligament. Neck is directed, if you hold it in an anatomical position, neck is directed backwards, upwards and laterally. It comes up to the tubercle. Now the attachments of the neck, on the posterior aspect of this neck, important ligament is there, which is connecting this neck with the transverse process of the first thoracic vertebra, that is inferior costotransverse ligament. You may call also it posterior costotransverse ligament. In front of the neck here lies some important structures. They are passing longitudinally. They are from medial to lateral. First sympathetic trunk, then first posterior intercostal vein, then superior intercostal artery, then first thoracic nerve, ascending branch of the first thoracic nerve, which is coming here to form the brachial plexus. It comes to take part in the brachial plexus. So this is the first thoracic nerve. That is from medial to lateral. Again I am repeating. This is the sympathetic trunk, then first posterior intercostal vein, superior intercostal artery, and first thoracic nerve. Now come to this part. I have already told you it is traversed by two oblique groove, and between these two grooves this is this faint ridge which ends in a tubercle, that is called scalene tubercle. This is called scalene tubercle. Now this anterior groove is meant for subclavian vein, and posterior groove is meant for subclavian artery. I am sorry, this is the anterior, this is the posterior. So this is the subclavian artery and this is the subclavian vein. Now this part near the middle, this rough part, it is for the attachment of the first digitation of the serratus anterior. The area between the subclavian artery and pubic tubercle, this quadrangular area is meant for the attachment of the scalenus medius. Now the area in front of the anterior groove, that is the groove which is meant for the subclavian vein, this area, here you will get attachment of two important structures. Anteriorly you will get subclavius muscle and posteriorly costoclavicular ligament. Both these structures actually encroach on the costal cartilages. Now come to the inner border, which is concave, and outer border is convex. This border gives attachment to suprapleural membrane. Because of the obliquity of this rib, the apex of the lungs extends beyond the anterior end, but posteriorly it lies at the level of the neck of the rib. Here it does not pass beyond this limit. but here it passes above the limit of the rib. Now this outer border is thickened posteriorly, but it is thin anteriorly. This part, posterior part here, this part is actually the scalenus. There are three scalene muscle. This is scalenus anterior, scalenus medius, and there is scalenus posterior. That posterior is going to insert into the second rib. When it is going to be inserted, it passes over the posterior aspect of the outer border of the first rib. So it is actually it is passes like this. Now let us see the now this joint here, the first sternocostal joint. This joint I have already told you that is primary cartilaginous joint. Now let us see this is the superior aspect. Now let us see the inferior aspect here. This is the inferior aspect. Here inferior aspect is plain. There is no costal groove here. Now along the outer margin here, there are two muscles. One is external intercostal and deep to it internal intercostal. So these two muscles lies along the outer margin of the first rib, but outwardly lies the external intercostal and inwardly lies the internal intercostal muscles. Now here intercostal intimus is absent, so the nerves, first intercostal, posterior intercostal vein, posterior intercostal artery and intercostal nerve. Here the position is from lateral to medial. First nerve, intercostal nerve, then artery, then vein. Nerve, artery, vein. In case of other, you have seen vein, artery and nerve from above downwards. Here lateral to medial, nerve, artery, vein lies here. It lies direct over the pleura. This part is covered by the pleura. So this is the inferior aspect. Again I am repeating, the inferior aspect is there is no costal groove here and there is no intercostal intimus muscle. So the intercostal nerve and intercostal artery and vein, they lies directly over the pleura. They are arranged from lateral to medial are nerve, artery and vein, and along this surface but towards the outer border lies the external intercostal muscle, then deep to it lies the internal intercostal muscles. So these are the attachments of the inferior aspect. So these are the first rib. Now I am just holding this rib in this position. You see, you should hold it in this position. Slightly anterior should be downwards, posterior end will be upwards, and it will look more towards the midline. So this is about the first rib.